Well, good morning. Today is Saturday. What is the date today? January, June 28th. My name is Angela. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. I am a front-end developer and software engineer. Welcome to the stream. On this channel, we practice the basics. HTML, CSS. We do vanilla JavaScript. Let's see here. Let me make sure that's muted. We do vanilla JavaScript. Sometimes we do vanilla CSS. I personally enjoy Sass. I'm a Sass girl. But interestingly enough, I think on the next project, I'm going to do vanilla CSS again because I don't know if you noticed, but I released a 9.5 hour compilation. It was a real-time build of a front-end mentor product cart with list project. And I released that this week, and I'm super proud of it. And that was also a vanilla CSS project. And I thought, I like watching that actually. I kind of like that. So let's do that again. So next weekend, we're going to start a fresh project. And we are going to do a vanilla CSS landing page UI. Very light on the JavaScript, very, very light on the JavaScript, a little bit of DOM manipulation, like adding and remove classes. It's mostly going to be focused on building a UI, building a landing page. Yeah, and I'm excited to do that. But guess what? I'm really excited to work on today. We're so close. We are so, so close. We are going to deploy this come hell or high water on Tuesday this week, July 1st. But honestly, we are in such good shape to get this site done. It's very nearly done now, and I could not be prouder of the work that I've done to get this. If you've ever worked on a portfolio website for yourself, you know how incredibly difficult it is to do things like this. It was for me. It always has been. But this is the second time now that I've designed a website for myself from scratch. The second time in 12 years. And I could not be happier. Obviously, I keep saying that. I couldn't be happier. So I'm excited that I got to share this process with you guys. And I'm excited that we're going to deploy it together, you and me. We're in it together. So, hey, if you're new here, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you enjoy front-end development, if you enjoy things that are just all about good semantic HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript, good search engine optimization, good accessibility, good responsiveness, that is what we do here. So, okay, let's talk about what we're going to do today. So here is our project board. So here's what's in progress right now. I really hoped that I was going to get our project repository readmes finished by today. And I also hoped that I was going to get the description, the meta descriptions for the remaining pages done today. I did not. I am on the tail end. I'm finishing a contract project, a freelancing contract that I had that, well, technically I finished the last task on Friday, yesterday. Monday, June 30th is where I do the sort of finish writing documentation. We're going to deploy some things and I do kind of the final handoff. So really Monday, I'm done with the project. The tasks have been completed. I'm almost done with the documentation and then that's it. We're done. July 1st, I set up another stream. We're going to go ahead and get this deployed at noon Central Standard Time on July 1st. So hopefully you can join me. And then that's it. I am a full-time content creator. So hopefully, you can come along for the ride. So my point in telling you this is that I had a really busy week this past week, getting a lot of final tasks wrapped up. And I just didn't have time to get to the readmes or the descriptions. I set aside this evening to work on those. So my goal is to get those done tonight. And then tomorrow, when we start again, those should be done. Today, I really want to focus on a layout for the About page. Let's see here. Emilio, project board. We love organization. Yes, Emilio, we love organization. Let's see here. Let's talk about what we have to get done today. One moment. Okay. So this experience, okay, so we're going to tweak, let's just start at the top. We are going to tweak these headers. I really do not like text. I think it's fine if a header is centered. I really do not like paragraphs of text that are centered, and I'm doing it also on the contact page. We also added the center text to the articles and to the projects. I really don't like it. It's less noticeable here. I think it's really noticeable here, and it's really noticeable here, especially with the drop cap. So we are going to left justify this, but I think also I'm going to do something very similar to, so let's look at an article. Okay, so do you see here what I did with this on the left, this divider, and then this left justified text on the right, but the container itself is centered. We're going to do something very similar today with these headers because I just can't stand it. I think center justifying big chunks of text I think it's a lazy design choice. It just looks lazy to me and I really don't like it. And on mobile, I can't stand it. I really can't stand it on mobile. So we're going to do that first. I really like this experience and skills section. However, I need to update the content. Let me show you what I'm going to draw from. I recently redesigned my GitHub README for my profile, my GitHub profile. And I spent a lot of time working on my tech stack and tools and like really drilling down to what it is that I want to highlight. So I'm going to update, and I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to update this unordered list with these items content-wise. But design-wise, I love this section. I love the animation. I think it's really cute. I love that we've got dividers in between the list items. I like that I have different color bullets. I think this is a cute picture. I like the background and the border that I did, the offset. So this design-wise is not going to change. This is not quite working for me, and honestly I don't have a strong desire to really like fix this. And then I have this here, which is a video, a live stream that I did last fall, which is a live stream that I had a lot of fun with. Not terribly popular, but I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed it. I don't have a deep desire to embed iframes on my page either. I think one iframe on a page is fine, but it adds a lot of bloat to the page. Let's look at the network requests for a YouTube video. So let's go all. I mean, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. That's it. Let me start to play. Yeah, when you start to play, a few more things get added. See down here though where it says 16 of 60 of the requests are increasing? What other requests are there? Oh, maybe it's the fetch, maybe it's this. See, look at all these extra requests that happen. Now, some of that, I mean, they are at least trying to optimize the loading. Now, I have lazy loading on this, so let's watch the requests as I scroll down. Well, I don't have enough items here for that to matter, I guess. There were more when I was still sort of in development. It's just, I think it's too many. I just don't like iframes. So we're probably not going to put an iframe here. So, okay. So Angela, what's your point? Get to the point here. We need to, let's start with these headers, and then that's going to change the headers also on the articles and the projects. So that's going to look the same. And then we're just going to go ahead and left justify this header and content. I'm not going to align them side by side, but I am going to left justify this text because I just really don't like it. The other thing that we're going to do then for the rest of the page, because I'm really only keeping this section, is we're just going to flip through my collection of mockups because I'm tired of trying to come up with an idea on my own for what this layout should be. I don't feel particularly inspired content-wise. I know what I want to say. No, I have not actually written any content, but I also don't feel inspired by any sort of layout. And I tend to be a content-first type of designer. I need the content in order to be sort of inspired. So it's twofold, right? First of all, I just haven't taken the time to write the content. Even though I have an idea of what I want to say, I just haven't taken the time to do it. So that's it. I do sometimes, though, need a little inspiration when it comes to content. I need to have an idea of what the layout's going to be. So those two things sort of feed off of each other. So let's just look through my collection of mockups and look for a layout that we can implement on this page. And I think that will help me get a little inspiration with some content. So when you say full-time content creator, will you still be working at the college? No, I left the University of St. Thomas in March. My last day there was March 6th. Interestingly enough, though, they asked me to come back and do some freelancing, which I agreed to. So I left March 6th. I came back, I think it was right around the middle of May, and they asked me if I would do some contract work and finish up some work through the end of their fiscal year, which is Monday, June 30th. And then they asked me to stay on and keep working, and I said no, which was scary. It was super scary, but I said no. So no, I am now full-time content creator. Maybe I will do some freelancing, but I'm really not trying to do freelancing. I decided to just see if I could do YouTube for a year, build this audience, get monetized, see if I could make this work. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't work, I might be looking for a job again. I don't know. I had the savings, and after 7 years, I was like, I just need to do something different. I'm kind of bored. So hope it all goes well. You're going to do awesome. I'm definitely going to be attaching your YouTube and get help to my school site all the time. Thank you. I appreciate that, Emilio. It's funny, Emilio, I was editing that compilation video, the front end mentor project video that I posted this week. And that was when you first started watching. That was when you first started joining the live streams and chatting with us. I couldn't remember exactly when it was, but it was right around the end of October, the beginning of November. It was right in there. And I was like, oh, that's when Emilio started. That's so cool. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. Yeah, here's the thing. I am not risk averse. I like a little bit of risk. It feels good. It kind of makes me feel like I'm alive and doing something. I know it's not for everybody, but for me personally, I like a little bit of risk. It feels good. It reminds me of like who I am and what I'm capable of. And it's just me and Heidi. It's just me and my dog Heidi. I don't have any other responsibilities, so nobody else is really impacted by my decisions. And there are so many ways to make money now, even without getting a job. You could DoorDash, you can Uber, you can Lyft. There are ways to make money if you need to make money that never existed before, which make decisions like this a lot less scary. I also I did plan this ahead of time. I thought about it for a really long time and I have savings. So I've got runway. I've got about a year to see if I can make it work. So yeah. All right. First things first, let's just work on this header because I feel very focused on fixing these headers because I really don't like the headers. So, and these headers all are in a header with a header element with a class of content header with an H1 called primary heading and a paragraph tag for the description. So let's go find this. And this is going to be in a couple of different places because on the About page, I have separate styles to account for this drop cap. But I think on articles and projects, I made those global. So we might have to duplicate our efforts in a couple of places, but that's completely fine. So, yeah, here it is, where we have text-align center. So let's do this first. We'll take out the text-align center. And then this is still also text-align center. Okay, and of course we have a pseudo. Change this to 0. And then I think why is this centered? All right. So now let's just go ahead and do display flex, flex flow, row, no wrap, justify content. Let's do, I usually do space between, but let's do space evenly, and then I'm not going to have to worry so much about the container. We'll see. And then align items, I think I'm going to do center. We'll see if we need to adjust that. Okay. I'm thinking. So I think this should be flex start. And I think the divider needs to be in the middle, not a pseudo. So space evenly. I think space around is going to push it out more. Yeah. So space evenly. So we are still going to need to contain it. That's fine. I don't know if I can get this to behave like another element. I don't see, that's the thing about before and after pseudo classes. When something's display flex, I wish I could get this to be independent. I don't think I can. So instead of border, bottom, left, right. And then this margin. So I don't want any margin on the top and bottom, but maybe two rems would be on the left and right. I don't know if this is going to look right. Oh, it needs height. We'll just do height 100%. No, you're going to make me define the height, huh? Yeah, it's not going to. So probably the best approach is going to be, I mean, do I really? Okay. You know, sometimes I have these ideas and I execute them perfectly. And then other days, not so much. That's okay. So we'll top 0. And then we're going to go left, right. We'll just go right 0. All right, we're getting there. There we go. We need to take that margin off. I don't think we need this max width either. I like height 100%. We don't need width because we're not doing border bottom anymore. This might actually work out. Okay. Now, you know what though? Is it better to just put an empty div inside the markup so it spaces evenly, which is what I did for the meta descriptions on the pages? And then it will always be the height if I do it that way. It's only on 3 pages. I'm only going to do that on 3 pages. Or, you know what I could do is I could just have everything be left justified instead of centered. That's kind of what I'm thinking. We're just going to back it all up here. Command Z is your best friend. So let's take out the center. Let's take out that. Let's take out that. And then let's just make sure that this is in a container. I think that's all we need to do. But we don't even need to do that. Max width, what did we do? Max width's and then this would just be so that is centered. This has a max width of 80 characters. So we would just do that. I generally don't like to, well, let's just change. So instead of a max width character limit, let's just change the width here. So maybe we do 50 rems. Yes. Okay. We'll fix these. Okay, let's fix this. Oh, this is fixed. This is left justified. But what I am going to take out are these dashes. I don't like these dashes. I got some help writing this content from ChatGPT. ChatGPT loves M dashes. Loves M dashes. So let's just edit that text a little bit. Got a question, idea, or opportunity, and it loves commas. Send me a message using the form below. I check my inbox regularly and respond as soon as I can. I'm always happy to set up a Zoom meeting if you'd like to connect live, especially if you're a prospective client or employer. And I'm actually just going to take out this last sentence. Beautiful. Perfect. Love it. Love it, love it. Perfect. Okay, so let's edit this text a little bit. Maybe it just is this little hanging grow that is bothering me here so much. So let's just edit the text a little bit. I'll probably feel a lot better. Hi, I'm Angela. We can do a comma. A software engineer and front end dev. I don't love passion. Overused word. A software engineer and front end dev with a passion for accessible UI, clean code, and real-time builds. You know what? Let's just simplify this. And front-end developer. I've spent over a decade writing code, mentoring devs, and solving real problems across a wide range of projects. These days, I'm focused on teaching, streaming, and creating tools and content that help others grow, help others learn. Okay, that already looks 100 times better. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with this until I come up with a better idea. Until I come up with a better idea. Yeah. Okay, so let's fix this now. So I think we decided on max width, 50 rems, margin, 0 auto. Maybe these do need to be centered. Oh yeah, and that screwed up my buttons. Oh, it screwed up because I made it 50 rems. That's why. You know what? Just to be a rebel, that content is going to remain left justified just because. And let's get rid of that hyphen on the articles page. This is the full archive of everything I've written. Including tutorials, advice, lifestyle content, and the occasional free PDF handout. There we go. Oh, Jesus Christ. The hand had the hyphens. Okay, these are front-end projects I built live on stream. These are front-end projects I built live on stream with full access to the source code, working demos, and YouTube build playlists. Every project is made with HTML, CSS, SCSS, and JavaScript. No frameworks, just clean, accessible code. Okay. These are front-end projects I built during live streams. Much better. Much better. All right. I mean, should I center about me? Oh my God. Okay. And since those are 60 rems, I'm going to change this to be 60. All right. Okay, well, here we are. Okay. I love putting in actual content. This is where I get excited. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's you can spend weeks or months on a build, and once you really are not ever going to look you're not going to have a full understanding of what the design is capable of until you see real content and images go in. Those are just facts, or that's my experience at least. So yeah, I still love this project page since we changed this layout last week. So, okay, let's look for a layout. Let me just pull up my little stash. Let's see here. We can make this nice and big. See if I can just open this in a separate. No. Okay, well, I would really like to open this without, you know, showing every single file. Let me see if I can move this to new Finder window. There, no. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me, Mac? Oh my God. Wow, I feel like I'm getting off to a bad foot here today. Can we do this? Yes. Okay. All right. I don't know, man. Having one of those days, I guess. Tis what it is. Okay, here we go. I did pick out something for. Is this it? Yes. So this is it, was this it? I was that it? I think so. I think this is what I chose that I wanted to start working on next weekend. And in the process of looking at some of these things, I was like, this is what I need to do to figure out a layout. 1 second. I thought this is what I need to do to figure out a layout for the remaining portion of the About page. So yes, this is the layout that we are going to start working on next weekend. It's from a huge mock-up that I built or that I bought on Theme Forest, and it clearly has a huge, huge collection of mock-ups as part of this template. And it's things like this that just served me endlessly while I was freelancing because I just really struggled to come up with layouts and designs. And I just thought, let's just go. I can't do another, like when we worked on the ocean, that was just such a huge undertaking. Even to just do these like 9 layouts, it took 24 streams over like several months to get it all done. I was like, good grief, that's just too much. Let's just choose one great landing page and build that. So that's what we're going to do. This is what we're going to start working on next week. And so the reason I'm telling you this is I thought, okay, I'm really at a loss for how I want to lay out just the second half of the About page. I'm also not feeling super inspired content-wise. Generally, I'm a content first person, but I also do rely sometimes on a layout for a little bit of inspiration to write content. So I thought, let's just go through my collection of mock-ups and see if we can just find a nice simple layout to implement on the second half of this About page. And then I can come up with some content ideas. And so Amelia's saying he was always taught to center About Me, but that's been a while. So I'm curious, Emilio, was it something, were you taught to center headers or were you taught to center specifically the words About Me? I had not heard that. I think it's perfectly fine to go ahead and center, your headers. In general, I just don't love centering things if I don't have to. But I haven't heard anything where your content or specifically the words About Me need to be centered. I would love to know if there's some like user study or data that says that that's a thing. I would love to know that. If you can point me to that, I would be interested in seeing that. So let's just flip through some of these layouts. Actually, I forgot about this one. This would be a fun one to do sometime too. This is very much like what we ended up coming up with last week. Oh, I like this. I like this as a blog layout. We should definitely do this one. Okay, so now this is forcing me to really sit and think about my content. Oh, I like this. So if we did this layout, so if we implemented this where we had an image and then we had text and then we had, let's go ahead. Well, let's preview this. Okay, so clearly this is meant to be a blog post, but we could repurpose it as anything we wanted, right? So if this was a section header, an image, which the only image I have so far, we could make this a thumbnail if I wanted to like call out that video. If I wanted to call out that video from YouTube, or I could just do like a screenshot of my YouTube, of like my channel page, and then I could write something specific about how, like why I started the channel, the purpose of the channel, and then just include the experience that I have and why the experience that I had, ultimately inspired me. Yes, and then because I wanted to include 3 of the law tubers, because it was really the law tubers that I was watching: Emily Baker, Melanie Little, and Andrea Burkhart, 3 female attorney streamers that inspired me finally to start streaming. So I could do a picture of each of their channels and then just a blurb about each of them and link back to their channels. Yes, this is our layout. This is our layout. This is what we're doing. Okay, are we ready? Let's see here. So this is next week's. We're starting this one next weekend. So just a little FYI. Okay, good. See what a good exercise this is? This was a good exercise. Yes, we love this. Let me see here. Okay. So let's start building this. Someday, what I will do is I will make a page that actually looks like a resume, but not today. For now, there's a social media link that goes to my LinkedIn profile. So if somebody wants to see what my professional experience is, they can go check out my LinkedIn. We're not going to worry about this for now. So, okay, let's start building this. See, now I'm inspired. Right. Articles. All right. So here's our experience section. This is the professional experience. I'm gonna comment this out. Same here. I'm just gonna comment these out. Then let's start a new section. And let's just call this We'll call this Inspiration. The class is called Inspiration. This is our Inspiration section. I think we need to do a div with a class wrap. And then we're going to do an image with a figure tag. So we'll do figure, the class, image. Let's see here. So here's our front end is from hell, JPG. I think this is 1920 by 1080. So let's go ahead and include that. Definitely need to include our base URL. No, you're not going to pop up. Okay. Front end. Okay. And we've got, we'll make this an H2. An H2 with the class of secondary header. I'm going to say, I'm just going to put in an inspirational blog about flour. Because I don't have a title yet. That's okay. I'll put in a p tag with some lorem ipsum. And then let's add another one. We'll do a little more. And we'll do another one. A little more. And then I think we need to, we'll do like a little sidebar. This will be our call to action button. And we can put an H3 here, and I'll decide what I want to put over here. I'm not sure yet. Not sure yet. And, if I'm going to have this be an H2 on the right and this be an H3 on the left, I'm actually going to put that section after. I'm actually going to, yeah, and then let's make this an article. So we keep it nice and semantic, and then we'll make that sidebar an aside. And then with CSS, with Flexbox, we're going to change the order. So we'll call this the inspiration content. You know, Emilio, I think you should just start with one. Just start with one. Go find one that you like, especially if you find a mockup that has many, many views, right? And yeah, just start making the first one, because what do I always say? when you make the first one, you also make the header and the footer, and then like half your site's done, right? Because you have the two things that appear on every single page, plus you've defined so many of your styles. So I was always told to center the header of the About Me section because it forces the person to recognize it. It's important. Interesting. I hadn't heard that. That's not something I heard. Open my textbook, but it was basically they had 5 test groups and they did different layouts. And when you centered the About Me section header, it had the best review. Interesting. I had not heard that. So I learned something new today. I think your design can drive the messaging, but if there's data, I mean, I would not ignore data that said to always center something. What I don't like is I don't mind centering a heading. What I don't like is centering blocks of text. That's what I really, really don't like. I personally prefer it if it's always left or right justified and not centered, but the design really has to support that, right? And I don't think my design really supports that right now. So, we all have to figure it out. Your eyeballs will tell you if it works or not. But I thank you for responding to that. I definitely didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I appreciate the feedback. I really, really do. And yeah, you should do whatever works, right? If your design supports it 100%, do it. So we'll do H3 tertiary header. And project details. So I'm just going to say details. And then I'm going to put a tiny little blurb of text here. And then we'll put a call to action. We'll go ahead and do paragraphs with an anchor. And what is that? Live preview. All right, so let's, and then I think this could be a new section. Yeah, I think this should be a new section. And we'll call this these are law tubers. These are the law tubers section. And we'll do a div with the wrap. And then we're going to do 3 articles. We'll say article. We'll just say item. Well, no, I'm almost certain that I am duplicating that word. We'll just say latuber dash item. Nice and semantic. So we'll do a figure, the class of image, and we'll do an image. I'll just do a picture of me until I can go grab some. And then we'll do this is going to be, whoops. My H2 is there. I'm going to put the H2 here. I'll say the law tubers who inspired me. I already have an inspiration section. The law tubers I love. Love it. The law tubers I love. And then we'll do an H3 tertiary header. And we'll do Emily D. Baker. And we'll do a paragraph, the little lorem, and then I think we should definitely do a call to action. We could also just, instead of doing a separate call to action, we could just link the title. Why don't we do that? Yeah. Because here's the thing, I am a trial watcher. I am a trial watcher. I am a trial watcher. It is a huge part of my life to have YouTube on during the day. Melanie Little, well, we'll do their full attorney channel name. I am a trial watcher. It is a huge part of my life. Burke Hart. And it's the absolute truth that if I hadn't stumbled onto this part of YouTube, I don't think I would have started streaming. Just facts. Oh, we need to make sure that we have a full URL here. Okay. All right, this makes me feel so much better now about this page, that I have a plan. That I have a plan. Yes, I like it. Okay, let's start styling. So here is our inspiration. Let's do, what do we do on some of our other pages just to stay consistent? Looks like I just did it's really the wrap that's doing all the heavy lifting, isn't it? But I still put, like, pretty consistently, I've been putting 3 rems of padding and then changing that. But that's, yeah. Okay. And then let's just make sure that this is locked in a little bit. This is our figure. We already have our responsive styles. We already took off the, we'll do an aspect ratio of 16:9. We'll just say width 100%, height auto. And then we'll say object fit cover. Even though the aspect ratio is already 16:9, just kind of locks it in, and it gives us a little more control over things if we ever do want to change this. Oh, what did I do here? Position. Oh yeah, we're not using positioning. So now if we wanted to change the aspect ratio, our whole figure tag, what's going on here? Oh, I put it, what did I do here with my markup? Well, obviously that's not right. There we go. So now if we wanted to change this aspect ratio, we could. So we could change it, we could make it bigger, and the object position is always going to make sure that it covers it proportionally. So, but we'll stick with 16:9. And then let's flexbox our wrap. And we'll do row wrap. Yeah, probably on mobile we'll end up wrapping that, so that's fine. Justify content, we'll do space between, and align items, flex start. It's usually fine. And then, okay, well actually, we want to put a container around the article and the aside, don't we? Yeah. So let's do div content wrap. And then this would be content wrap. There we go. And then we can change the order. Let's do an underscore. We can change the order. We'll say inspiration content, inspiration sidebar. So this is going to be order 2. This is going to be order 1, so we're flipping them. And I've gotten into a few debates with accessibility people about changing the order of things. Here's the thing, Flexbox makes changing the order of something so incredibly easy. However, I do want to be mindful of the fact that a screen reader sees what's represented on the page. To the best of my ability. And the reason I decided to flip this is because an inspirational blog about flower, this is an H2. Project details, that's an H3. I don't want the sidebar to come first because I don't want the H3 to come before the H2. But this is not an H2 and this is not an H3. So in the DOM, the thing on the right comes before the thing on the left because of the template hierarchy of the H2 and the H3. And for that reason, I'm going to flip the order. So you will see it backwards if you are reading this left to right, which English speakers go from left to right. But in the DOM, it's still represented in the correct order. I hope that makes sense. And those are important considerations. Those are important considerations when you're building layouts, to make sure that you are honoring template hierarchy, because it is important for SEO and it's important for accessibility. So our content, I would say, is 70-30. So let's do a width of 70%. And let's do a sidebar. I'm actually going to do 25% so we have some room. There. That works. That works. This is, yeah, the container really is right here because these have some absolute positioning. This is a pretty big monitor though. I'm on a 27-inch monitor. So I suppose if it was a traditional laptop, it would look more like this. So, okay, let's keep going. Now we want to do this as a grid, our little law tubers grid. And then I think this, we do have a wrap. And I'm going to say max width, 75 rems, margin, 0 auto. And then display flex, flex flow. We'll do row wrap because we'll do row wrap and I'm undecided yet how that's going to look on mobile. Justify content, space between, align items. I'm going to say stretch for now because I'm, again, a little undecided on how those items are going to look. If I give them a background, I'm going to want them to be the same height, and stretch will do that for us. So now let's do law tuber item. Oh, and let's make sure. And then, oh, I'm going to give this a gap of 2 rems. And then we'll give this a width, and we'll calculate the width. It will be 100% minus 4 rems. Divided by 3. So a gap of 2 rems puts 2 rems in between. There we go. There we go. We definitely need to adjust some of this text. This text is a huge line height right now because it's styled specifically for the articles, the blogs, to be really readable for the blogs. But it definitely has to be adjusted in other places, which is totally fine. So, okay, so we have a layout now. Let's adjust this header. It's going to be justified, or let's put it in one of these. We'll put it in one of these. And even though it's an H2, I'm still going to give it a class of primary so it gets those styles. Maybe, yes. The styles, did it? Content header, primary heading. Oh, that's, well, I should have done this for all of them. How did I style my other H2s? Yeah, I should have done this a lot differently. Heading, wrap, secondary heading. Could have been better. Could have been better planned. This is really for a page, isn't it? Okay, so we just have to copy this to our about. And it's right at the top before the wrap. And I think we definitely need to give this a background. So let's give this, and we have to fix that text. It is gigantic. The text is huge. So we have to fix that too. So let's give this a background color of light gray. might end up needing more padding, but this is okay for now. And then let's fix this text. So yeah, it has a huge amount of line height. But also the font, the text is just huge. It's 1.25. And I did that specifically for those articles. So let's just, yeah, we can just fix the paragraph here. So we'll do, I think our line height for on the body is 1.65. Line height 1.65. And then we'll just go ahead and say font size 1 rem. There. Already 100 times better. But I have no regrets. I have no regrets because it needs to be, in my opinion, bigger and more readable for those blog pages. So yeah, I'm good with this. I like this. Let's see here. It does have a lot of margin afterwards. Let's just tighten up that margin a tiny little bit. So we'll just do margin 1 rem. There we go. And this looks black. Let's make this wrap. Put this right down here. And let's just make this, I don't know, green. Yeah, I like it. And then let's style this details. Let's do something a little bit different for this. Let's actually change the font family of this altogether. Let's do our other font family. Let's live a little. Let's live a little. Which is Lato. Let's live a little. Shall we? And we'll do text transform, uppercase, letter spacing, 1 pixel, more as needed, and color. Let's make this navy. Let's make it a little smaller. It's too big. Font size is 1.17 ems. Yeah, ems and rems are a lot different. Yeah, that works. And then we need to tidy up our margins. You can see here that the margins are wildly different. So let's do a font size of 1.25 rems, not ems, rems. And then You can see here that we've got an M of margin on the top and bottom. And then here we have 0.83 M's of margin on the top and bottom. M's are always relative to the parent container. Rems, I think, are relative to the document. So I almost never use M's. I always use rems. So what I would like to do here is just say margin 001 rem. And I want to do the same thing here, and that should level it out. They should be the same. And then we can adjust the margin or the padding of the container, probably the padding, to get it to even up. There we go. So now you can see that those are even, although this is a bigger text. This is a bigger font, and it's obviously clearly a different font altogether. So it's always going to look like it has a little more space there. So let's see if we can either put margin here to push it down, or we can put padding here to push it down. I guess I'm inclined here to just add some margin. So we'll 0 on the top, 0 on the left and right, and maybe 2 rems. There. And now it looks fairly even. We'll play with it. We're going to play with it. But I like the direction this is going. I like the direction this is going. Yes. Let's see here. I really want to create an early 1990s style site. I think that will be my next assignment for school. Oh, Emilio, I would like to see that if you do it. I mean, there are sites out there that are very Web 1.0. And they tend to do like layouts and styling that looks more like Windows 3.0. Look for like a Windows 3.0 style guide. And that'll probably, if you really want to build something in that direction, you can do that. I remember the internet in those days. Go find, you know what you should do, Amelia? Go find some screenshots of AOL from the early 90s and build it. Build it in a, I mean, you don't have to do anything I tell you to do, but find some screenshots of AOL from the early 90s. Build it as it was originally laid out, but make it accessible and responsive. That could be a cool live stream. That might be a fun stream. Like, what if we AOL 1990s screenshots? Wow. I mean, I remember these days. I don't even know how I would get something to look like this anymore. I'm sure there are like branding packs and SVG and style packs out there for that style, for those retro style. Those retro styles. So if you build it, Emilio, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. And so this is interesting. So this paragraph text in the sidebar, it has the same styles as this wider text, but to me at least, this looks like it has a lot more line height. So I'm going to change the style specific to this sidebar to just decrease the line height. And that looks like it matches now, even though it doesn't. I think you should do it, Emilio. Just search. I'm sure there are style packs out there, like asset packs with like hex colors, SVGs, things like that. But I would build an AOL screenshot from the 90s, but make it under the hood. It still needs to be accessible and responsive. You could totally do that. I think that would be super fun. So let's change the line height to 1.55. I'm even tempted to change the font size to 0.9 REMs. Yeah. I am going to change that. So here's the content wrap. Where did I do this? Okay. So I'm going to put this under the content. And then I'm going to put this under the sidebar, but this is going to be, not going to change the margin. Change this to 0.9. I'm going to change this to 1.55 line height. And Pet Tails is here. Thank you for complimenting me on my teaching skills. And how old are you? Well, that is none of your business. But thank you for joining. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, that's private. I don't think I need to tell anybody my age. But thank you for joining and thank you for the compliment. And we are always happy to help you. Always happy to have you. Let me know if you have any questions that are development related. Okay, where were we? So this is looking much, much better. This is looking much, much better. So if we zoom back out, I'm definitely liking this. I like this screenshot. I like my little devil horns. I got a kick out of this. I actually forgot to use this version of the screenshot when I scheduled this live stream last year. But I still had it, obviously, and I think it's funny. I cracked myself up. So this makes me feel a lot more inspired now about actually writing some content for myself. So let's go ahead and style this link as a button. And then we're also going to, I also really like this section as well. We'll see if we can add a little more flair, as it were, to that section. And I feel a lot more inspired now to write some content here. Okay. And this is going to be a call to action back to the YouTube channel, which I don't really think we have. We're also going to change this to the project video that I just released, which is the this 9.5 hour compilation video. So that's what I want that to be on the homepage. So we'll go ahead and change that as well. And we'll link directly to that. I'm not going to embed that video. Okay, let's get back to the About page. And we could also put that background, we could put that background border on that as well. Let's do that. So So we'll do after content, and then we'll have to make this position relative. Position absolute. We're going to say top negative 1 rem, left negative 1 rem, width 100%, height 100%. And then we're going to say border. We'll start with 2 pixels, solid, and maybe teal. And then we'll probably need a z-index of -1. We'll see how it goes. What happened? Oh, no, you're there. Just 0. I think we just need to put some z-index here. And oh, left negative. There we go. All right, that works. Let's do something a little bigger, and let's try our dots. And we'll switch it to yellow. Oh. Yay, I like it. Let's make this a little bigger though. Should we just go back to teal? Are the dots too big? Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave it right there. Let's do something down in the corner now. So this was after, we'll do before. Before, and you have to define content even if you don't use it or it won't work. And it's position absolute. And we'll say right -1 rem and bottom -1 rem. But we're going to define this as a width of 200 pixels, a height of 200 pixels, so just a nice square. And we'll give this a background color of yellow. And this is also going to be a z-index of -1. So it's just behind that image, but just peeks out down at the bottom of the corner here. Yeah. Maybe 0.75. There, I like it. Just sort of frames the image a little bit, right? Just frames the image a little bit, gives it a little something extra. This is a nice little section. This is a very nice little section. You could easily switch out your images, change your content, adapt things. Oh, you know what we could do right over here with this details? We could do, so if this is a block of content that is more like about me and why I started streaming, this could actually be the details about the video, right? So we could say, here's our sidebar. So we could actually say front. Am I going to spell front end the first time at any point? Is from hell. And then I could give a description of the video. Oh, we should definitely add our devil emoji. Smiling, of course. And then we could do, where is that video? Right here. So December 13th, 2024. So we want to do a time element, date time 2024, December, was it 13th? December 13th, 2024. And then I could just, well, I did sort of write a blurb. Well, ChatGPT wrote a blurb. And then let's actually link to this video. And then let's do target blank. I love it. We definitely need to resize this text so the devil emoji fits. I have priorities there. I freaking love it. And if the text is this small, no, I still, well, I like letter spacing on uppercase text. We'll go 1.5 pixels. Get rid of there. I freaking love it. I love it. Do you see what a good exercise this is? To just gather a little collection of wireframes. Look on Pinterest. Yes, I tend to be a content first person, but sometimes you do need a little bit of a layout to inspire you. It works both ways. There's not a right way to do it. There's not a wrong way to do it. So let's change this to 1.1 rems. We'll do letter spacing 1.5. 1.5. There is nothing wrong with adapting your layout to fit your content. There is nothing wrong with that. Watch front end is from hell. I think we can drop the on my channel. Watch front end is from hell. And maybe we put this in quotes. Click it. Nice. I should redo that. I should redo that live stream. I should redo that. I should just continue to revisit that live stream. I mean, it didn't get very many views. It got 200 views. So maybe that's something I should just revisit, because the whole point of that stream was to talk about just attitudes about front end development and how people approach it, especially full stack and more back end developers who feel like they are forced to understand front end for the sake of their own portfolio websites, and how much they dislike dislike it, and just the attitude about JavaScript frameworks and how complex it can be. So, which is the whole point of this channel, is that I understand frameworks. I've been working in Vue for the last 7 years. I've built a couple of Angular apps. So I know how to use a framework. That's definitely not the point of this channel. It's not to be anti-framework. It's just to get back to basics and to understand basics, and to let people know, like, hey, if you have a straightforward project, or you're building a client site for somebody, not everything needs to be a Node app. You can build a static website, launch it on a nice little Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, a little LAMP stack. You could throw in a couple PHP includes, and you don't have to run a big Node app or install Webpack or anything like that. Those things aren't required to build a nice website. They're just not. Okay. And I am kind of thinking that this text is maybe a little too small. I think we have it at 0.9. 0.9 rems. I'm just going to bump it up like to 0.95. Yeah. Beautiful. So now I just need to think of a... Look, I couldn't even spell this right, could I? Where is that? Here we are. And in... Okay. So I need content, I need a header, and I need to write this section, which I pretty much know what I want to say. I love this screenshot. I love that the sidebar is about this video. It's just, let the creative process happen, people. This is what happens when you let the creative process happen. So I do think that this is going to need a little more margin to even it out. So right now we have 1 rem of margin. Oh, you know what? We actually used... We are going to have to add a little bit of margin here, I think, to bump that up. So let's see. Yeah, let's do that. That looks a little more even. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, let's work on this. And we could do something very similar. This image treatment where we just put like this dotted border and the little thing down in the corner, we can do something very similar down here as well. We have a header that is consistent with our other pages, the home page in particular. Yeah. And then I'll have to gather some more screenshots later today and make sure we get those in. So I think we'll end up, well, let's just write some styles. Okay, so now we're in the law tubers section. So here are our items, and those are paragraph tags. And I really want it to be this. Yeah. Oh, that's a little tight, isn't it? Oh, that's the wrong one. That's why. This is what I wanted. Oh, but not the margin. There we go. That looks a little more natural. And then this has a lot of margin on it. What's happening here? So we'll fix the header. Margin, I'm just going to say, let's just try 1 rem on the top and bottom. See if we can just tighten it up a little bit. Yeah. I'm good with that. And then let's just do something, let's lock in our images kind of like we did with the main image. Yes, those images are already the aspect ratio that I like. However, doing it this way locks it in so I can put any image in there and it's always going to be proportional. So, and I'm not sure, like, I'm thinking that I could either just grab screen grabs of their channels or I could actually just grab a screen grab from their video. I'm not sure yet, but I want the most amount of flexibility. So we'll say image. Law tubers, and we already have those figure tags by default. Figure elements by default have a lot of margin, and I'm already taking that margin off. Images by default are inline elements, and I've already styled them to be responsive as block level elements. So those styles are already pretty much taken care of. So I'm just going to do an aspect ratio of 16:9, and I'm going to say width 100%. Whoops. Height auto, and then for the images, I'm going to say width 100%, height 100%, and then object fit cover. So we're not really going to see a visible change, but it's just going to lock it in for us. So again, a great example of that is we could change this aspect ratio here. Like, let's say we want it to be, a portrait. So what's a good portrait? 7:5. Oh, not really. We could do, hang on, I have to think about this. 5:7. 5:7 is a portrait. There's a portrait, right? Really common 5:7. So now we took a landscape photo and we turned it into a portrait size, and object fit automatically puts the focal point at center. But what if we wanted this to be on the x-axis, we wanted it to be left top. So I think we could do something like left, oh, hang on, cover. So we want to do object position. Now we can change the position. Cover keeps it proportionally without stretching it. So we could do left, Angela, top, top, left. Come on, really? Object position, left. What don't you like? Did I spell it wrong? Hang on. Object position, right top. So that would be X and that would be Y. Isn't that what I did? Did I spell it wrong? Yes, I did. I spelled it wrong. There we go. I can't spell. I cannot spell. So with object position, you can move things on the X and Y axis. So we could do left top, we could do left center. It's not really going to change the Y axis though, because we're already getting the full height of the container. But this is really powerful, right? That you can use aspect ratio to change the orientation of an image. It gives you the reason why I think this is really, really important. The reason I think this is really, really important is because I just spent the last 7 years at the University of St. Thomas, where everything I did was for a content management system. And we had dozens of people who were creating content from all the schools and colleges. And the better I was at keeping images flexible, the easier it was for the content creators. So I was locking in the orientation and size of an image, but basically a content creator could add any image and not need to worry about cropping it or finding a focal point, and it would just work. So say that I had a module that was like this, where the orientation was taller than it was wide. So a landscape orientation, like this is the orientation of the photo in order to support that design. Now I don't need that content creator doesn't have to worry about cropping the photo. They can just put the photo in and it's going to look fine, because I always make sure that it's object fit cover position center, and I can just change the aspect ratio if I need to. So let's say we need it to be 3:4. That's another very common aspect ratio. I'm going to go back to 16:9. Honestly, that kind of looked good, didn't it? 3:4. That kind of looked good. If I wanted to find images of these gals, 4:3, that looks good too. I like it. Let's lock that in, 4:3. It's just incredibly powerful what you can do with CSS. And then you don't have to shift that burden of cropping photos to a content creator, because I promise you, maybe some are, but most aren't. If you tell them they have to go out and image source and crop their photos, they're not going to be able to do it. You're asking too much of a content creator. In my opinion, just based on my own experience, let them be focused on the messaging and give them an easy way to add images that is low stress for them. That is my advice. Okay, back to it. I like this. I really like this. This is a good shape. Yeah, so let's do something with these images now. Let's give them a little razzmatazz or something. It doesn't need to be exactly like this, but it's probably going to look pretty similar. So, and then we need to make sure that this stuff's responsive. So, okay. So we'll go ahead. We have to make this position relative. And then we'll do before. Always have to add content or it won't work, even if you're not adding content, but you're just using it as a container. This is going to be absolute. And we'll say top -1 rem, left -1 rem. We'll do width 100%, height 100%, and then we'll do border 4 pixels, dots, and we'll do yellow this time. And then this is going to need a z-index of -1, and then this will need a z-index of 0. We already have yellow dots, don't we? So I think we are going to have to go back to teal. Yeah, it's going to look exactly the same. We could do it in the other direction. We could also do a different color, and it's a little too, I think 1 rem is too much. So let's try 0.5. We'll shift it to the right. Yeah, that works. Actually, I actually really like the navy because it matches this. And then let's just go ahead and put a little, should we just do a nice green? Not teal, but just a nice dark green down in the corner. Could maybe be a little further out. And then maybe just in general, we need to give this a little bit of space here. So if we change this here, it's going to change it everywhere. All right, I'm going to change it here. So I talk about wishing that my styles were more global. This is one of the downsides of styles that are more global, is if you change it in one spot, it impacts everything. So we'll just have to do, well, but we're not done with QA yet, right? We still have a couple more passes of QA. So it is what it is. We'll duplicate the styles if we have to get what we want. There's nothing wrong with that. So we'll say bottom. We'll just start with 1 rem and go from there. Bottom, or we said the other side, left. And I'm going to say width 100 pixels, height 100 pixels, and then I'll do a background color green and a z-index of -1. Yeah, I like it. It's obviously too big, but we knew that was going to happen. I actually think it should be a little smaller. Yes. Mm-hmm. I like it. These are going to need a little more space to be pushed down, though. These are the H3s. So let's just push this down 1.5, but we'll keep the bottom 1 rem. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. And I think, yeah. So I think tonight this gives me a lot to think about this evening about how I want to this is what I needed to really get my head around the kind of content that I need to create for this page. That's what this does. Yeah. This is what I needed. This is what I needed. And then I'm going to change this out as well. So I have some things to do tonight that I'm just going to do offline on my own that are mostly have to do, well, let's go back to our project board. So I'm going to finish the readmes on the GitHub projects. I'm going to finish the custom descriptions for the remaining inner pages. So this section needs styling and design inspiration. The layout isn't really working. We also need to decide what the CTA does, call to action. Should it link to a resume? If not, where does it go? So I'm going to add a comment here. New design and layout has been implemented. Closing this task. We can close this because we did what we needed to do here. The whole point of this was to figure out what the hell is going on with this section. So I'm going to comment and I'm going to close this issue. And we can move this to done. So now really tonight it's just about figuring out this content, the remaining content. What do I want to tell the user? Something about my offline life, painting, knitting, fiber, Heidi, my inspo for starting YouTube and streaming, a call to action to the YouTube channel page. So I feel like I got that with here by linking to the video. So I'm good with this. I'm good with this. And then maybe we'll do an animation. We'll implement an on-scroll animation. So, and I definitely think we need more padding in this section. And the padding is deceptively small because we have this border. We are using this border treatment. So we would have a little more on top. Really, I feel like we would have double on top. Yeah. Just using my eyeballs to see what looks good, right? Just using my eyeballs. I like that. And tomorrow we really still need to make sure we have to lock in our mobile styles too. And on Tuesday, I scheduled a stream for Tuesday at noon Central Standard Time to actually deploy the site and do a post-launch deploy. But believe me when I tell you that we are going to do a thorough QA first. That stream is going to include a thorough QA and, touching things up before and after the deploy. Not that it really matters. I mean, we could just instantly deploy on Tuesday at noon, but it's nice to do a pass. It's nice to do a sweep, right? A little before and after. And Go Elmo Go says, looks good, like the fluidity of it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Emilio says, great as usual. Hope you have a great Saturday. Thank you, Emilio. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I hope that you have a great Saturday as well. I can't stop gushing about the fact that I'm just so happy I decided to prioritize this because of the project planning and just being able to set aside time to work on this during the streams. It was just such a huge win. It was just such a huge win. For getting all this working. Let's go ahead and deploy this. Shall we? By the way, if you're new here, do me a favor and like the video. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we would love to have you. I had a lot of people join the stream today, more than I usually do. So thank you for that. If you're new here, I thank you for joining. I appreciate having you. So let's just say working on about page layout and styles. Whoops. Well, forgot the commit part, didn't I? Okay. All right, we should see that deployed here in a second. Oh, what happened to my... Did I not save? What? What did I have? What happened? Did I put it in the wrong place? I bet I put it in the wrong place. Yes, I did. Okay, let's deploy that. Let's commit that one more time. Okay. Beautiful. And Emilio says, I think you're going to be a great YouTuber, and I can't wait to see you become a great mentor on here. Thank you, Emilio. I appreciate that. I've loved YouTube for so many years, And yeah, it's exciting to finally do it. I wouldn't trade. I think the channel is growing very slowly, and the reason for that is because I've really only been doing live streams. It's just within the last few weeks that I've started to push out more I guess what I would call produced content. And that's just what I have time for, which is why I quit my job, because I didn't have time to do anything else but stream, and I barely had time for that. So I have the time now to really work on growing the channel, but I wouldn't trade the last year for anything, because I went from like the first stream I did, I was like faceless, no face. I was like, I'm going to do this and you will never see my face. And by the second or third stream, I was like, where's my camera? I wanted to be on camera. I was like, yes, this feels natural. I want to do this. But even then it was a huge adjustment to see myself and hear myself. And now I'm pretty much over it. It doesn't bother me anymore. I'm extremely comfortable with the process. I love building thumbnails. I mean, I love everything that I've learned over the last year, just the software, the process, how to interact with people, how to do something like this confidently and competently. That's been a process. I haven't really experienced any negativity or what I would say are trolls. I've definitely feel like I've had some people come into the chat and try to undermine me, right? So that's been interesting, because I thought if I experienced any negativity, it would just be things like, you're stupid, you're ugly, go away, right? Like the really overtly mean type behavior. Haven't experienced anything like that. If anything, it's just been more people who say things under the it hasn't happened very often. It's only happened a couple of times. So people who I think they are being complimentary, but they're very much undermining. Very much trying to undermine me. And I'm like, okay, you can go. You can leave. I don't want you here. But then I have people like Emilio and Go Elmo Go, who are pretty consistently here on the weekends, and you are extremely kind. And I just love having you guys. I love having you guys as my audience. So I just really appreciate you. And you make it really fun. And I'm thrilled with what I have come up with. I'm thrilled with what I have come up with. This makes me feel so much more inspired to write content and to think about what I want to say. So again, if you need inspiration, if you're not sure what to do, just go find some mock-ups and start building something. And I promise you, inspiration will come. Here's what I've learned over the years about motivation. It almost never just materializes. Very, very rare. Motivation is a result of action and momentum. You must take action. You must build momentum. Do not approach this as you have everything figured out. Even when you have all your designs laid out for you, if you're in an agency or organization and working with a designer, don't worry about having everything laid out, understanding exactly how you're going to do it. Just get started. Let the creative process happen. You will be shocked at the things that you come up with that will or won't work. I was convinced that when we started today and I was restyling these headers, I was convinced that what I was seeing in my head was going to work beautifully on the page. It absolutely did not. It absolutely did not. But I'm satisfied with what I came up with. I'm satisfied. I'm happy with what I came up with. So just allow that creative process to happen. But I'm begging you, if this is really work that you want to do and you're having trouble getting started, just start. Just find a mock-up someplace and just start. You will be shocked at what you're capable of. Good, Emilio. Report back to me. Report back to me. I think, Emilio, you should just go look on Pinterest. Just go look on Pinterest. It's okay. That's what those things are out there for, right? So let's scan our home page. Yeah, this did push down. This did push it down a little bit. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So, all right. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. We will be back tomorrow. I have quite a bit to get done tonight, which is good. I set aside time tonight to work on this. Come back tomorrow and let's see if we can get this about page finished up, and then come back on Tuesday and help me deploy it. I'll download Pinterest. Never used it before, but always down for easy ways to find stuff. And yeah, you don't even have to download it. It's just a website. Just go to pinterest.com. So just go to pinterest.com and search for web design inspiration. You'll be shocked at what comes up. It's basically just another social media account, but quite frankly, it's social media that doesn't make me feel bad about myself because it's just pretty pictures. You're just surrounded by pretty things. That's all it is. So, okay, everybody have a great rest of your day wherever you are. I will see you all tomorrow. We're going to wrap up this about page. And then, yeah, I hope you can come back noon Tuesday, Central Standard Time. We are going to deploy this site. We are going to do a pre-deploy and a post-deploy checklist. And we're going to get this thing live. We're going to do it. It's going to happen. So have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.